Today we're going to discuss the Kendrick Johnson case, and it's important to note that recently it was announced that this case will be reopening. Kendrick Johnson was found dead at his high school gym inside of a wrestling mat on January 11, 2013. Kendrick's parents described Kendrick as a very loving and respectful young man and an all-around good kid. On January 10, 2013, Kendrick told his mom he was going to an after-school basketball game, and after the game, he would be home. But hours had passed, and Jackie hadn't seen or heard from Kendrick, so immediately she started calling him, but received no answer. She even started calling around to see if anyone had seen him or if they were with him, but no one had seen or heard from Kendrick. The following morning, Jackie realized that Kendrick still hadn't came home and she still hadn't heard from him. So she decided to contact his school to see if maybe he went ahead and went to school. But the school had already marked him absent. After hearing that Kendrick was marked absent, Jackie immediately contacted the authorities to report her son missing. She then proceeded to Kendrick's school to print out missing persons flyers. Around the same time that Jackie was at the school, 2 students had discovered Kendrick's body in the gym. The 2 students who discovered Kendrick stated that they were playing around on the wrestling mats in the gym when they saw someone's feet sticking out of the top of the wrestling mat. They then ran over to get Coach Phillip, and Coach Phillip came over, unrolled the mat, and discovered that Kendrick was dead. When Coach Phillip realized that Kendrick was dead, he cleared out the school's gym, and one of the students called 911. The cops arrived, and they locked the school down. But remember, around this same time, Jackie was already at the school. After 6 long hours of the cops and the investigators doing their jobs, they finally contacted the coroner's office to report Kendrick's death. And from there, that's when an autopsy was done. Due to the autopsy report, this is where the confusion, the frustration, and the controversy begins in this case. The autopsy report states that Kendrick's cause of death is positional asphyxiation. Basically, they are stating that due to the position that Kendrick was in, he was upside down in this mat, that is what caused his death. After receiving the autopsy report and reviewing the surveillance cameras in the gym, the investigators had a few theories. One theory was that Kendrick went into the gym to retrieve his shoes from under the mat, went to grab his shoe, and got stuck inside of the mat and couldn't get out. Another theory was Kendrick was on top of the mats playing around, and he accidentally fell into the mat and he couldn't get out. Now, it's not unusual that Kendrick's shoes would be placed under a mat because many students would place their items under mats as a storage place. But what is unusual is why would authorities believe that Kendrick would dive headfirst or even climb or jump in headfirst into a mat to retrieve any items? Well, the investigators could only speculate what happened to Kendrick because after reviewing the surveillance cameras, the cameras didn't show anything. Plus, hours of footage was missing. The footage only showed Kendrick entering the gym. It didn't show what happened, what time it happened, or if he even left the gym. Kenneth and Jackie didn't believe that Kendrick's death was an accident. There was no way that he could have jumped into this mat and died. Plus, the footage was released to the public, so everyone got a chance to see what was on the tapes. But the tapes didn't show anything. At 1:09 p.m., the surveillance caught Kendrick on the camera entering the gym. Alongside of Kendrick at the same time was another student. But then the footage jumped 3 minutes and a group of students was walking across the gym. And then more missing footage. Another issue that Kenneth and Jackie had was trying to understand how did Kendrick fit into the mat if his shoulders measured 19 inches across and the inside of this mat was 14 inches. So Kenneth and Jackie decided to hire a private pathologist, and when that pathologist was done with his autopsy, he stated that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the side of his neck. Even after this new autopsy, the investigators still felt that Kendrick's cause of death was accidental. Even a third autopsy was done, and this autopsy report stated that Kendrick's cause of death was blunt force trauma to the side of his neck and thorax. Let's pause for a moment. I came across this video on YouTube while doing my research regarding this case of this guy who decided to do a demonstration of someone being stuck inside of a mat. Let's take a look.
Okay, what's your name?
Sean Pollock.
Sean Pollock. Where do you wrestle?
Cal State Bakersfield.
Cal State Bakersfield. We're gonna do a test. I believe his name was Kendrick. Forgetting his name. Kendrick Johnson, the KJ. He just passed away. He died in, I think, Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, and he was inside of a mat. A lot of people don't believe it. This is a very short mat. He was in an 8-foot mat, and he reached inside. We're gonna tip him up to demonstrate, and we want to show you guys how it's very difficult to get out of it.
Like 6
And
foot.
this guy's, he's 6 feet tall, and if he was vertical in a mat, this is what would happen. Go ahead and let's tip him up. Felicia, can you help?
Should I get out first?
No, just move your hand.
Yeah. So, we're showing you right now. Go ahead and yell. Yell for help. Yell for help. Can you hear me?
Yell again.
See how nobody would hear that? You say it loud. Nobody can hear him. Wow. Try to get out. Try to get out. Try to knock it down. Try to knock it down. See, he can't. Now let's tip him over. Let's get him out. Crazy, huh?
It's so hot in there.
And can you imagine?
That was for how long? Like 15, 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Hey, in a few hours, blood will pool in your head. You won't be able to survive, and you'll die. And he was found the next day.
Oh,
Did that
That's
happen
crazy.
to my cousin Ray? Next day, dead.
Dead.
He's so sweaty.
it's so hot in there.
Yeah, you're gross.
You what? Tell
blanket, dude. That's how you
tell us how it felt. Like you can't move.
It's sketchy. Like you're just scared to be in there. Like I couldn't move or anything, you know.
All right. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate this guy taking the time out to do a demonstration on someone being stuck in a mat. But after watching, I still have so many questions. Let's start out with question number 1. How did he get into the mat? Did he jump in the mat, or did they assist him and roll him into the mat? My next question, why didn't they measure the guy's shoulder width in the inside of the mat? That would have been very helpful, considering the investigators are stating that Kendrick's shoulders measured 19 inches and the inside of the mat was 14 inches. What is very helpful in this video is seeing that when the young guy is trying to knock the mat over, he couldn't. And when he's yelling, it's very muffled. So there are possibilities that Kendrick, if he was yelling for help, no one would hear him. And if he was trying to get out, he wouldn't be able to. Okay, let's go back to the second and third autopsy report. Remember that those reports stated that Kendrick's cause of death was blunt force trauma to the side of his neck. Well, someone came forward and an affidavit was filed in August 2017. This person states that another person informed them that they had killed Kendrick. Basically, in this affidavit, it states that this person and Kendrick were in the gym. They were arguing about something, and the person hit Kendrick in the side of the neck with a 45-pound weight or dumbbell. The affidavit also states that the person who hit Kendrick with the weight went to recruit someone else to help hide the body or to hide any of the evidence. I'm not certain if this case is reopening due to the affidavit along with the second and third autopsy reports. It's just very unfortunate that it's taken so long. Kenneth and Jackie have never stopped fighting for justice for Kendrick because they have never believed that this was an accident. This case is definitely interesting, and I can't wait to see the evidence, if any witnesses come forward, but we will definitely be tuning in and discussing this case in the very near future.